Hello everyone, welcome to Unit 1 Lesson 3, Circle Square Patterns. So continuing on from our previous lesson, Lesson 2, we're going to continue on the topic of representing patterns or representing information using patterns. So for today's lesson, go ahead and log into our Google Classroom and you'll see three items on there. You'll see the slide deck that I'm walking through with you here. I want you to go ahead and download this Digital Information Lesson 3 activity guide, and you'll also find this video recording on Google Classroom in this folder as well. So go ahead and download the Digital Information activity guide. Not this one, that was the Lesson 2 one. Here it is. So here's our activity guide. Go ahead and open this. We're going to be using this for today's lesson. So let's go back to our slides again. So warm up. How many ways can you represent the number 7? So, number 7, it's a character. You could represent it as a character. You could represent it as a text, SEVEN, or you could represent it as a pattern, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. So how many ways can you represent 7? So let's go over to our activity guide. And we'll take a look at challenge 1, patterns. Actually, no, let's take a look at the prompt first. So determine how many patterns made of circles and squares you can make with 3 place values. These patterns could each represent different pieces of information. Write down the patterns in the supporting slides. So there's 2 to get you started. So we've got 3 circles, and we've got a circle, a square, and a circle. So over in our activity guide, we're going to complete the following challenges. So challenge 1, patterns. And that's what we just spoke about. So record all the possible 3 place value patterns that use only the circle and the square shapes. A few of them are listed in the diagram to the right. Try to make sure these patterns are in some type of order and avoid putting down patterns randomly. So that's kind of important. As you're developing your patterns here, put them in an order and don't put them randomly, because when you're trying to determine if you really have covered every single set of patterns, it's much easier if they're in some kind of order. So put all your the most of the circle ones first, most of the square ones first, change one item at a time. It just makes it a whole lot easier than you having a list of random ones that you could have easily duplicated. So let's take a look at one. So challenge 1, patterns. Record all possible 3 place value patterns that use only the circle and square shapes. A few are listed in diagram to the right. So here's the diagram over to the right here. Try to make sure the patterns are in some type of order and avoid putting down patterns randomly. And then what we're going to do is, if you go back to the first slide here, it just shows you what we're going to do here, a little video. You're going to drag the various items, the various shapes over to make 3 patterns. So go ahead and take a look at doing that. And so drag over 3 of the 4 items on each of those items on the left, and then put the pattern here. And I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and pause the video, and then once you have completed that, come back and we'll continue on. So for me, let's take a look at what my patterns might look like. So I'm going to start off with a circle, and a square. And then we could say circle, square, square. We could say circle, square, circle. You could say square, circle, square. So is that every option? No, it's not, because we now need to start looking at starting it off with the square first. So we'd say square. So we've got our square, circle, square. So we could say square, circle, circle. And we could say square, square, circle. Now I do think that is every available pattern. Just taking a look here to see if I missed anything. So yeah, I missed one. I need to do a... Oh, did I? Circle, circle, square. Got a circle, square, circle. And I think that's everything. Okay, so that is my list of patterns here. Now there is some kind of order in there because I tried to do, the first column I tried to use all of the circle options first, and the second column I tried to use all of the square options first. Second column not quite as ordered. We've got a circle, square, square, and then this, and a circle, square, square, and a circle, circle, square. It would have been better if it was like circle, square, square, circle, square, square, and kind of repeating the pattern there, so you know that you haven't missed anything. So let's take a look at that. Look at what that would actually look like. Circle, 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 square, 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 circle, square, square, circle. Let's put a square. Put that one back there for now. Circle, square, square, circle, square, square. And then I've got square, square, circle. And it didn't allow us to use 3 squares or 3 circles, so I can't put a square, square, square here. And it looks like I've duplicated a pattern here. So that is not quite right either, is it? So circle, circle, square. It should be square, square, circle. Let's go back. Let's see if we can. So circle, circle, square, 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 circle. And now I've got 3 the same. Okay, we'll move those ones out of the way. Alright, so we've got circle, circle, square, circle, square, square, circle, square, circle. And then if we try and repeat that pattern with opposites, so square, square, circle, square, circle, 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 square, circle, square, square, circle, square. Okay, so that should be every iteration. We've got 2 circles. We've got a circle on its own, and we've got a circle. Yeah, so that should be every iteration. So challenge 2, describe your rules. So reflect on how you put the patterns below in order from one line to the next. Are there any clear rules to follow? If you didn't use any clear rules, redo challenge 1 with some rules in mind. So that's basically what I did just now. So I build out what I thought, and then I thought about putting a rule behind it, and then rebuild it with that rule in mind. And for me, that rule was duplicate. Do the first column with zeros, with circles. I'm sorry. first column of circles, and then the remaining 2 columns, swap them out between a circle and a square, making sure that you have every iteration covered. So a circle in the middle, a circle in the end, we've got a square in the middle, square in the end, and then 2 squares. If we'd had a third circle available to us, we could have put 3 circles in here as well, but we don't have that, and that would have made it a little easier to follow through as well. And so for me, that's my rule. So I'm going to go ahead and put my rule in here, and well, go ahead and pause, put your rule in here, and come back once you have your rule, and we'll restart, and I'll go ahead and enter my rule in here. Okay, so my rule was start, well, say first column all same. So rule number 1, first column all the same. Rule number 2, circle in each location. So I'll put a circle there and a circle there, and then we'll say square in each location. So I put my square here, square there, and I got my 2 squares in the middle. And then it was for the second set, it was opposite values for second set. Alright, so that is my pattern, and that is my set of rules there. So I'm sure you all have came up with all the patterns. Your rules might be similar to mine, may not be. I mean, there's a number of different ways you could have done this. You could have started with squares instead of circles. You could have done the opposite directly after. So for instance, we could have had circle, 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 square. Then we could have had square, square, circle straight after it. You know, that's an equally valid way of doing it. So whatever rules you have, they don't need to be the same as mine. So let's go back to our presentation again. So we did challenge 1, we've done a pattern. Challenge 2 was describing your rule. So we didn't really cover that bit on this slide. So reflect how you put your patterns above in order to go from one line to the next. Determine some clear rules to follow, and then I redid mine because it wasn't very clear on what the rules were there. So okay, so challenge 3, more patterns. So we've increased the number of places now from 3 to 4. So use your rules from the last page to try and generate all possible 4-place value patterns using only circles and squares. And again, we've got 3 examples listed here. You may need to add new rules or slightly change your rules to account for all 4-place value patterns, but try and keep them as similar as possible. So let's go back here, go back onto the next slide. So here's your challenge 3, more patterns. Let's go ahead, take a look at doing this. Pause the video and then come back once you have all of your patterns listed out. Okay, so I'm going to try and follow the same rules as what I did before. So I started off with all circles to begin with. So let's start it off with all circles. So we'd have a circle and a circle. We can have a circle here and a circle there. We can have a circle here and a circle there. So we fill in the remaining ones with squares. So we have so you can see here what I did, I just moved the circle out one place. So we got this and this, and then we got this and this, and then we got this and this. So given that we have 2 circles to work with, no, we still have other patterns. So we put a circle in the first line. So now we can put our circle in the second. No, we have just the second spot. So, well, no, we'd be basically duplicating what we have here. So we'll start off with circles. Let's start off with circles in the next line then. So the circle here, and a circle here. We could have a circle here, and a circle here. So then we can fill our remaining in with squares. So square, and a square, and then a square, and a square. So then I can put my circle here, and my circle here. And put my square there, and a square there. So what am I missing? So 3 circles here. Should be circle there, circle there, circle there, circle there, circle there, circle there. And if we had one circle, we would put just one circle here. Am I missing anything? Seems like not. Yeah, so that looks like we have them all. So did I need to change my rule? Let's go back and take a look at what my rule was before. So the first column all the same, circle in each location after it, and then a square in the blanks, and then opposite values for the second set. So that looks like, let's go copy this rule over. I think for me my rule hasn't changed. Okay, so first column all the same. So the first column has it in, and the circle in each location after it. So I've got a circle here, I then move the other one out to here, then I move the other one out to here. So then if we look at the next set, so the next column, so I put a circle in the next column, and in each of the subsequent spots as well. And then this column, because I'm here, I've got the circle here. Now there isn't any more circle locations I can put. And then given what we have, this should be, each one of these items should be duplicated now. So circle, circle, square, 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 circle, circle, square, circle, square, circle, circle, square, circle, square, square, circle, circle, square, circle, square, square, circle. Okay, so those are all of the various iterations we can have here. So let's shoot back over here. We did that. So wrap up for today. Congratulations, you just invented your own system. How is counting in the circle and square system similar to how we count in our regular lives? And how is it different? So go ahead and think about that for a second. You know, how is counting the circle and square and circle system similar to how we count in our regular lives? Yeah, obviously in our regular lives we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And here we have circles and squares. So two different kinds of values, and each value has its own place in the grid. So we can look at the location here, left, next one, and then far right. And let me me see, do we have an exit ticket for today? Circles or squares. Check for understanding. So how do you explain a number system? Ooh, that's not what I wanted to do. How do you explain a number system to someone who had never seen numbers before? So, remember I mentioned about binary in the previous lesson. So we are starting the count in binary. And if we go back to our circle and square patterns, we're going to be covering more about this in the next lesson, but we're starting to look at binary here, where a circle is a 0 and a square is a 1. So that's why we're talking about binary here and an exit ticket. Exit ticket link will be in your Google Classroom for today. So how do you explain a number system to someone who has never seen numbers before? Okay, hopefully you all found today's lesson interesting, and I will speak to you again for lesson 4.